Okay, we'll just quickly do question number 11. That is long question number 11. We did till question number 10 here. That is 7, 8, 10 we solved in class. So question number 11, when we are talking about, when you read the question, 7,500 unit of standard products were manufactured during the month of April 1972. So total products that you have manufactured is 7,500. And of 7,000 units were sold. See, when you read a question like that, understand 7,500 units were manufactured, 7,000 were sold. So what about 500? 500 is nothing but your closing stock. So, and after that, okay, just keep that in mind. Then reading along. Material consumed is 26,000. This is nothing but your direct materials. Direct wages of 7,800. And works indirect expenditure. Then after that, you find out with this much information, we can find out prime cost. After that, they are telling us works indirect expenditures are allocated to production by means of machine hour rate. All right, that was one line of information. And then they are telling us how to calculate the same thing. The rate was fixed at 4 per hour and 550 machine hours were worked during the month. So for this, with this calculation, we will be able to know what our factory overhead cost is. Then after factory overhead cost, after getting the works cost, next is office and administration. So how to calculate that? Office overhead is charged on the basis of 15% on works cost. And then selling overheads at 25 paise per unit sold. Compile, and what is asked? You are asked to compile a worksheet showing cost per unit and profit for the month. Since they have specifically asked for cost per unit, this is how our cost sheet will look like. Whatever the number of unit that we have manufactured or produced, along with this in value, that is rupees, and cost per unit as well. How do you find out cost per unit? In previous questions also we have done the same. That is, whatever the value is, we will divide it by whatever units we have produced. That is, for producing 1 unit, how much did we spend is what basically we are going to see in the third column. So starting with direct material is nothing but materials consumed. You have 26,000 here, and along with this we add our direct wages. Direct wages are 7,800. Together we will get our prime Together we will get our prime cost. So prime cost is 33,800. Doing my calculation here. So 33,800. But we also know that we have to do a cost per unit. So how do we find out the entire cost of producing whatever is 26,000? But per unit is how much? 26,000 divided by 7,500. Similarly, 7,800 divided by 7,500, and that together we are going to get 4.5. 4.5 is what it is. And then moving along, production is still 7,500. No, this will not affect our production anything. So next is office overheads. Office overheads, the calculation they have told you very clearly. It is based on machine hour rate. The number of hours the machine has worked is for 550 hours into how much are they getting paid, or what is the machine hour rate? It is 4 per hour. So converting that out here is equal to 450 into 4, we will get 2,200. Now 2,200 is for the entire production of 7,500. So per unit will be divided by 7,500. So this will reach us to our works or factory cost, which is 33,800 plus 2,200. That is 36,000, and out here we have 4.79. I'm taking it as 4.80. And along with this, I need to add what more? So office expenditure. Oh, my bad. It is not office overheads. This is your factory overheads. I'm really sorry. This is your factory overheads. That is my mistake. Now add your office overheads here. So log office overheads, how do we add? It's charged on the basis of 15% on works cost. What is your works cost? 36,000. So directly when I'm doing is equal to Works cost into 15 divided by 100 will fetch you 5400, and unit cost of that is going to be divided by 7500. You will get 0.72. So these two together, it's 41,400. 41,400. And out here, if you see, it is going to be 5.52. So this is going to be called as your what? Cost of production. Cost of production. So far, how many units have you produced? I'm writing the same thing, 7,500 units at 41,400, and per cost per unit of adding all these things together, it is 5.52. Now comes our selling, and if you look at your cost sheet, cost of production, after cost of production and before cost of goods sold, what is the difference? What do we have to check out for? We have to look for our finished goods. Opening stock of finished goods is not given to you, but in the beginning of the question itself, I told you 7,500 units are produced and if 7,000 units are sold. What about this? What about the rest of 500? This is nothing but stock that you have kept with you without selling. And what do you call such stock? That stock is called as closing stock. And what do we do? What is the treatment that we do with closing stock? They are deducted from cost of production. Hence, there we go. We will deduct closing stock of finished goods. We have 500 which we have not yet sold. That's clearly given in the question. Now then the question arises, what is the cost and how do we value this? It is direct valuation. For 7,500 units it is 41,400. Then for 500 units it will be how much? It will be how much? And quickly doing it in my calculator. So 1 second. Is 500 into 41,400 divided by 7,500 will give me 2,760. So what did I do? For producing 7,500 units, the cost is 41,400. Then the question is, how do we value 500 units, right? You do this calculation and this is what you will end up with. So per unit cost of calculating this is of no use. We are not using this for production. We are not using this for selling, nothing. We are just keeping this with us. So we will not find cost per unit for your closing stock. Understand what we are doing. Now, obviously, once you deduct this, you will get 7,000. You can roughly, if you want to, call this as your cost of goods sold. COGS, and after that you will have, this is again to be deducted. This amount is again to be deducted, and that will fetch you 38,640. 38,640. And then this is again 5.52 itself. We did not do any calculation here. So the same amount, I'm writing it down here as well. Now I need to add something called selling and distribution expenses. Selling and distribution expenses, how is it calculated? 25 paise per unit sold. Number of units sold is not 7,500. Now it is only 7,000. So it is 7,000 into 0.25 paise. So 1750 is your selling and distribution expenditure. So per unit ka koi value nahi hai now. Finally, it is cost of sale to be COGS plus selling and distribution expenditure, which is 4390, which is going to be 40. And so cost of sales, we know, now we know that it is sold at what price. So they have asked you to find out profit also. So sales are 7,000. How do I get my sales? 7,000 units were sold at 7 per unit into 7. That is 49,000. So basically goods were worth, entire cost what we incurred is 40,390. We added some profit to it and finally sold it for 49,000. We sold it for 7 rupees and the units we sold are 7,000. Now what is your profit? Profit is nothing but minus 8610 is your profit, and per unit profit, how do we calculate? Per unit profit is what is the percentage, is equal to divided by 7500, it is 38. Okay, so once again, otherwise we will do it this way, is equal to 17000 divided by 7500. Okay, it shouldn't be by, oh god, by 7,000, and now you will get your selling price as 5.77. This is going to be 5.77, and here why I did not take it on 7,500 when calculating this. I did not take it under 7,500 is because we are selling only 7,000, and hence selling and distribution will only be for the units that we have sold. So that's it, and is this much. That's what they have basically asked you to find. That is question number 11. Now quickly moving over to question number 12 as well. We'll finish till here so that estimate and tender I can actually take in Monday's class. Next, similar, you guys can solve it, but and anyway solve it. This is long question. Oh. Long question 12. Okay. Mr. Gopal furnishes following data relating to manufacture of B. Standard product for the month of April 1980. Raw materials consumed, direct labor charges, machine hours worked, machine hour rate, administrative overheads. How to calculate? 20% on work cost. So you know this is for factory overheads. Selling and distribution is given. Unit produced are given as 17,100. Units sold are given as 16,000 at 4 per unit. Guys, with this itself, again, you will know that there is something of some goods, whatever we produced, we have not sold. So there is closing stock here as well. Of finished goods here as well. You're required to prepare cost sheet from the following above, showing cost per unit. So this column, profit per unit sold, and profit for the period. So it's the same thing actually, but nevertheless we'll just quickly do this. So raw materials first, we can actually write units produced. Units produced are 17,100, and now your direct material consumed is, or raw materials consumed, 15,000. Now direct wages are 9,000. Now again we will find cost per unit for each and everything. So is equal to 15,000 divided by 17,100, and here it is 9,000 divided by 17,100, which finally we will get cost here, and for that I will add these two and I will get 24,000, and out here when I add these two I will get 1.403. so I'll just take it as 1.40. Right. Now next one, after prime cost I have to add my factory overheads. So how do I add my factory overheads? Machine hour rate is given to us. So the number of units worked, it is going to be 900 into 5. Since I explained the previous sum, I'm just directly doing this here, and we will do per unit cost also of 17,100, and this will fetch us factory works cost. But that is going to be 28,500, and this is going to be 1.66, right. And after which we will add our office overheads. What is the calculation of office overheads? Our administrative overheads are 20% on works cost. So it is 20% on works cost is this. So 5700. Now how do I calculate per unit? That divided by 17100 will give me per unit cost. This ultimately will give me cost of production. So in cost of production, I have 34,200, and this is going to be 1.99. Then we can just take it as 2. I think 2 should be an okay amount. It's coming as 2. It doesn't matter. Cost of production. Now we have produced, for producing 17,100 units, you have actually spent 34,200. The amount that cost you is 34,200. Now, if you remember the last question also, along with COP, once you reach cost of production, you have to check for closing stock, opening stock of finished goods, anything like that. We don't have opening stock here, but with this difference, we know that there is some stock that we have not sold, which will ideally become our closing stock. Closing stock of finished goods. It is how much? It is 1700 minus 16,000. It is 1100. You have to deduct this. So after deducting, you will get 16,000. I mean, yeah. 16,000 is what you will get. Finally, this is what you're going to sell. Now, the question again is, how do you find this? How do you find this cost? Either you can do this, or else directly you can do it this also. Like cost of producing 1 unit is 2. So cost of closing stock of finished goods is 1100. So for 1100 ka cost is definitely going to be 2200, which again you will deduct. And finally the cost of this is going to be 32,000. 32,000. And after that we are not done, we have to add. So this, for we can just call it COGS because we have to call it something. Add selling expenses. Selling expenditures are what? 16. No, selling overheads are 0.50 per unit. How many ever units you have sold on that 0.4? So it is 16,000 into 4. It is into 0.50 per unit. Sorry, this is what it is. I think I was reading this. So whatever you have sold, on that it is change this thing. All right. So now what will be your unit price? It is going to be 8,000 divided by whatever you have actually sold. It is 16,000, so it's going to be 0.5. And finally, you reach something called cost of sales. So your cost of sales is going to be 40,000. Yeah, 32. And out here it is going to be 2.5. Right, easy calculation. Then, but that's not what is expected of you. Sales. How much? 16,000 unit you sold for 4 rupee per unit. So 64,000. So actual cost, whatever you have incurred, guys, is only 40,000, and you're actually selling it for 64,000. That is definitely quite a good deal. And so we will just quickly check what profit is. Okay. Profits are going to be obviously the difference, that is 24,000 here. Don't really have to calculate. And this is 1.4, no? 1.5, right? Is 1.5. So this is what our answer is. There you go. So this is question number 11 and 12. I will be sharing this video on Google Classroom. So we are actually trying and saving time here. And I don't want to take 0-hour classes as well. This is the reason why I'm doing it. Do go through the video. All right. Whenever you have time, whenever you're sitting and solving, please do go through this. Thank you.